And thank you to Julia for being here. I'm sure you guys know, but Julia is an award-winning casting director. She's garnered everything from Academy Awards to Emmys, drama critics. She's LA-based and has worked with local theater clients, including the Ensemble Theater Company, Pasadena Playhouse, Universal Studios, the LA Philharmonic. Just a really wonderful resume and professionalism that she's going to share with all of us here. So we are going to be utilizing the raised hand feature. So if you guys have questions, feel free to do that, and I'll go through and kind of select people and go through questions as they come in. But Julia, do you want to just give us a little bit of leading us in the right direction in terms of what you're hoping to talk about today, and just any general introductions that I might have missed?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, first of all, I mean, I think it's still morning here. Yeah, it's still morning here. I just wanted to say it's an honor to be here. Brianna, thank you. And Ben, thank you for facilitating all of this for all of us. We are all feeling a bit adrift right now, not quite as anchored as we usually are. And so it's bizarre. It's all bizarre. And Brianna and I were just talking when we were trying to figure out the technical aspects of this. She was thanking me, and I was just saying, I miss being a casting director. I miss seeing you guys. And right now, just so that you know, like on our end, I just keep getting more and more bad news in regards to my work and what's going on, like shows that I've poured my blood into, that are either getting canceled or postponed. And so it's heart-wrenching, because for me, every one show is like 30 people I'm hiring, and 30 people now that are going to be out of work. And that just, to me, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And I worry about you guys and think about you. So just know that you're not alone. You're not alone, in whatever we can do to help. And this is just a small bit of it. And in normal situations, I care and I want to support, but especially now. So reach out if and when I can be of help in any way, shape, or form. I was talking to Brianna and Elise before. I do master classes too, coaching, things like that. If you guys just want to just work and do something, and we'll figure out, don't worry about money stuff right now. You guys need to stay active. You need to know that you have a support system. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Julia. How are you, just to start off, how are you staying sane and keeping yourself, active and engaged during quarantine times?
I don't know. Sane is relative. You can't ask my husband about me staying sane, because I don't know. I actually am. It's weird, I think, like all of us, I like this, right? There are moments where I just go, oh my God, the look of, because I'm in LA, so it's sunny here most of the time. And I went for a walk yesterday, and I'm just like, God, I've never noticed how gorgeous it is to see the green tree against the blue sky. It's stunning. So I think for me, it's about slowing down to find the things that I normally just walk by, or I normally just drink my coffee without going, man, this is an awesome cup of coffee. It's just, I think that this has taught us all, that we don't control a gosh darn thing, which you guys deal with on a regular basis, me not so much. Letting this releasing of control thing is just not my jam. And then I think it's just finding the things to be happy about, because you can't control all the rest of the stuff. After I leave you guys, I'm going to go disinfect some groceries my husband brought home. So that's yeah.
Oh yeah, I've totally been doing that. Once I heard that I could live on certain days, I was like, great, I will be bleaching everything that comes into my house.
But at least we have groceries to disinfect. That's what I always say. See?
Yeah.
So yeah.
You got to find the silver lining.
Absolutely.
but thank you again for doing this. And if you guys, again, as we talk, just utilize the raise hand function. Please have your video on, just so that we can have that lovely kind of face-to-face time. I won't be choosing anyone who doesn't have video on, just because I just want to make sure that everyone's in a good place. We've had some trolls, so yeah, please just make sure that you have your video on, just so that we can verify. And I saw that Rebecca was one of the first ones to have her hand raised, so I'm gonna have you up first, Rebecca. Hello, I think you can speak now. Rebecca? Okay, we might come back to you because I don't think we can hear you. We're gonna go with Gloria.
Hi, yeah, I'm unmuted. So I'm wondering, how seriously am I being taken in the audition room? I don't have an agent, and I don't actually feel like I can afford to pay to play to get an agent, because I do see like things that add up, to come here, pay this money, and then agents will look at you. And I guess, to be totally transparent, I'm really not very good I don't have a website. I have some decent photos. My resume is never up to date, but I do continue my education, and I work very hard, and I'm driven with this. I was a teacher for 30 years, but I was an actor in the 70s, gave it up for money, came back in 2006, but not really, more like 2012 that I really said, I'm not doing anything else. No more personal training, nothing.
To be honest with you, Gloria, agents are great, but it doesn't faze me at all. I mean, and just so that you guys know too, full disclosure, like, I'm just one voice, and this is just my opinion, and you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers, I'm sure, Gloria. But for me, I mean, I cast theater in LA, so like, it doesn't matter to me. Here's the thing that I'm going to say. One of the talking points today is what you guys can do right now. And man, I got to tell you, it is absolutely invaluable to me when you guys have websites. I can't do my job. I can't get you work unless I can find you, right? So have your website. Make sure that you've got a current picture and resume. Make sure that you've got, like, if you've got any reels or anything like that, link that up to it too. And you've got time now. Do that. Absolutely. It's huge. And then also too, Gloria, what I would say is right now, this is the best time ever to be able to be your own team. It's Team Gloria, right? No one's going to fight harder for you than you. So I know for all of my projects, I've got a website. It's florescasting.com. It always has everything that I do. It's got the projects we're working on. It's got like the material. Every show is broken down. And so in 9.5 times out of 10, you can submit a video audition. And that doesn't cost you anything. And I promise you, I go through every blessed video.
How do I get you to notice me, though? How do I get you, Julia Flores, to say, oh, I'll look at her? How do I get in the room, in the website, for you to see me?
Okay, so you go to the website, and it'll have, like, when I'm actively casting shows, which I'm not right now, but when I am actively casting, it'll say, we are accepting video auditions, and it'll give you breakdown. It'll tell you exactly what you need to submit. All you have to do is email me. But make sure when you email video auditions that you email everything that you're supposed to, which means the sides that I've requested, that means picture and resume, it means in the proper format, and all that stuff is listed on there.
That's not a problem. I go to juliaflorescasting.com, and I can see what you're casting for, and I can follow the instructions, and you'll look at it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
And just so that you guys are clear, it's florescasting.com, not Julia. I don't even know what'll show up if you put juliaflorescasting.com. It'll probably redirect you, but just to be safe.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Because you guys need to know, my job is not about closing doors. my job is about opening doors. I'm nothing without you guys. So yeah, I mean, it's all about me. It's in my best interest to make sure that I see everybody that I can. And I will say this, there are times when I have a client who you've got to be LA based or at least have LA housing. But I also I don't just cast here in Los Angeles, I also cast regionally throughout the United States. So, it just depends on the show.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Thank you for being here. We're going to move on to Kelsey Lynn Stokes.
Hi, thanks so much for being here. My question is, during times like these when we're all pretty stressed out, I know I've been getting a lot of messages from businesses that I've used once 15 years ago, and they're like, hey, here's what we're doing. My question for you is, would you be open and receptive to receiving people's materials at a time like this? Or are you like not interested in seeing people reaching out and sending unsolicited links and materials? Because we do have the time, but at the same time, it's like most people are dealing with their personal lives and trying to keep their lives together.
Right. No, that's a great question, sweetheart. You know what? Again, it's about opening doors. Always, always, always. And yes, I've got 2 daughters. I've got a husband, a dog, all that. I got groceries to disinfect. But no, I mean, for me, it's like, this is, you guys are my other family, and so it's important for me to be able to, I cast theater in LA. Like, obviously this is not about the money, right? So like, yes. Short answer is yes. Send me whatever you've got. If you, yeah. And again, I don't know, I've been talking to my assistants about maybe working out some sort of, alteration on our master class, because my master class basically does a one-on-one. I don't like working in groups a lot because I don't get that personal connection, but being able to just say, hey, listen, let's talk about your resume. Let's talk about pictures. Let's talk about, what are the things that you've always wanted to know? I've been in casting now for over 30 years. And I want to be a resource for people. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Oh, honey, my pleasure. You take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. We've got a bunch of you guys here, which is amazing. I'm going to take this to Maisha Brooks. Let me unmute you really quickly.
Hi.
Maisha, you're up.
Yes, so Misha Brooks.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries, it's fine. So not the easiest spelling. So I'm New York City based. And before, like, as we all know, before this all happened, was in the middle of pilot season, had auditions like every single day. And then now you're like, okay, all of that hard work is not, I guess, was it fruitless? However, I'm just wondering, as a casting director, what do you foresee once we're able to get back to normalcy with a lot of those shows, for instance? Like, is there something that I can be doing at this time to prepare for any of those next steps? Do you think a lot of casting directors will just kind of start from the beginning and redo all of that casting?
That's a really good question, Misha. As I said, I've been getting not so great news from a lot of my clients about a lot of my shows. And I know that as long as my team stays in place, as long as it's the same director, same, creative team, I got to tell you, like, I'm thrilled with the shows in the shape that they were when all this got put on pause. Notice I'm using the word pause, not stop. Yeah. So I've got to imagine, honey, that most of them will do the same, unless specs change. Like, unfortunately, like, I did Sound of Music, and they're supposed to be in rehearsals right now. And those kids, can't even stand the thought of it, but a lot of them are going to age out, right? Mm-hmm. So there goes that. But, as long as specs stay the same, I think, honey, that they're going to go right back to those lists, and they're going to hopefully, God willing, we will be able to pick up exactly where we left off. So, and that's so great that you were so busy. I've got to imagine that you were so busy going into this, so you're going to be so busy coming out of it as well, honey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
sweetheart, best of everything to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. I see Caroline physically raising her hand, so because of that, I'm gonna go for that because I'm not sure if you know how to use the raise hand function.
This whole time.
No, I love it. I saw you just like, please.
Oh my God. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. I thought I was supposed to raise my hand. I have a toddler and this is what we do. So, I would be embarrassed, but you guys are so nice. So it's fine. Okay. Well, got your attention. One day, hopefully, fingers crossed, when I'm full-time working actor, I'll have to tell my son, Mommy did this stupid thing on a Zoom meeting and it was the start of everything. Anyway, okay. Well, I wanted to thank you both for everything you're doing right now, because you don't have to, and it's generous, and I just wanted to say thank you. So, like I said, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I have always dreamed of being an actress, but kind of took a side road into grad school because I think I was too afraid to go for it. And then met my husband, yada, yada, blah. But I want to do it now. And I'm in DC, and I'm the sole earner because my husband has an autoimmune disorder, actually 2, and can't work right now. We're hoping his treatment regimen works out. Anyway, I want to move to LA, but can't do it right now financially. Thank God I can work from home. But anyway, couple questions for you, if I may, but feel free to cut me off at any time because I don't want to be, I'm enthusiastic, but I don't want to like hog
If
you
you
guys.
could keep it to 1, that would be
Okay.
great, just only because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I totally got it. So one of the obstacles I think I face, and I'll just level with you guys, is I used to be skinny mini, but pregnancy was a horrible thing for me, very, very nauseous. And I gained a bunch of weight. So I'm working on that. But I guess for a future filing, Julia, that I may ask you if you have the time is like, can for me, healthfully, I want to get down to what I was before because it just feels better. But for me to pursue my dream while I'm not where I want to be, I don't know how that works. Should I not? Blah, blah, blah. Is there even roles for people that are like plus size right now? But anyway, my real question is, what can I do? Because I'm financially constrained to living on the East Coast in DC right now, not in New York. We're near his parents, which is a big help right now. We need to be with him so sick. What can I do right now, not being in a major casting city, to help my career, knowing that that's the goal? Like, I want to be in LA. I want to be a full-time working actress.
I think it may be a little bit challenging because you physically need to be here once you get the gig. It's not so much about making yourself available for the job, because I think we live in a time where video auditions are huge. Like, I cast, and who would have thought, like, if in any sort of medium, I mean, you think, okay, TV and film, definitely from video. That makes sense. Theater, not so much, but we are casting a lot more from video. And so I can say to you, yeah, definitely submit videos, but honey, unless you're here, unless you can relocate here for the actual job, it kind of doesn't make much sense. That's the other thing too, I would say to you guys, make sure that you've crossed all T's and dotted all I's before you submit video auditions for projects. Don't just submit just to get in front. I understand, like Gloria, you were saying earlier, like, to submit a video just to introduce or here's my reel or whatever. I'm totally down for that. But what I don't like is when, like, say, Caroline, you submit a video for one of my shows and then you're like, well, I can't really relocate right now. Totally get your personal situation and respect it, and sending happy thoughts your way, but it doesn't bode well in regards to being hired. So that's it's kind of, I'm not quite sure how you would bridge that.
Okay. I think because I make a healthy salary right now as a director I write grants, but for nonprofits, community-based nonprofits. If I got a high enough paying gig, we could relocate. It's just that right now, LA is really expensive. So is DC, but it's not as expensive as LA. Anyway, okay, thank you. No, I appreciate that. I definitely don't want to burn future bridges by, being like, oh, sorry. Like,
yeah.
Thank you for
exactly.
that.
And I mean, I can only speak to LA, to the theater family here in Los Angeles, but we're about this big, and we all talk and we all know each other. And so you definitely want to just think before you do.
Okay.
That's basically just a good idea anyway. But
yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Best of everything to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take it next to William Lopez. You are now on mute.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, Julia. Thank you for your
Hi,
time.
William.
I'm wondering, I hear a lot about getting in touch with, or at least becoming familiar with casting directors. I'm in New York City. I'm a new actor. And what is, in your experience, that work look like for just, I don't know, not even necessarily getting in front of casting directors, but building or doing the homework to familiarize myself with them?
Familiarize yourself with
maybe casting directors in the New York City area, and how to start to, I guess, identify which ones I should be targeting for roles that maybe I would be a fit for, etc.
Oh, okay. That's a really good question. Okay, so I just know personally that when actors reach out to me and say, oh, I saw such and such a show that you did and I really liked it, or I started whatever. But I think that when you can find, like, take the time, like the same way that I'm asking you guys to have websites, I gotta imagine that other casting directors have websites too. Maybe familiarize yourself with the casting directors in your area. And you're in New York, you said, right?
New York City, yep.
There's a lot of them. And depending on what your niche is and what you love to do and what really speaks to you, I would say try to find casting directors that you think have projects that you would like to be a part of. Research them the same way we researched you.
Okay.
And I think the more information you can have going into an introduction, the more personal it is, because it shows that it's not just, I'm not number 16 in a cut and paste email that you've sent to 50 other casting directors. Because that's just kind of impersonal. You will stand out the more specific you are. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And just to clarify, so do you feel it's appropriate to reach out to casting directors because I've done all this research and I've familiarized myself with their work, or are there better channels?
Reach out to them in what way?
In the way of even just offering myself, like if they ever needed an intern or anything like that, just getting myself around the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and I think too, like, again, I've been casting for over 30 years. So I've seen, like, I can remember back in the day when we didn't have email. Like, you guys got your sides because you came by my office to get them. That's how long I've been doing this. So I think now you guys are golden, because, like, you can send an email and, I read all my emails, but I don't know that everybody else does. But still, you send out 5 or 6 emails, law of averages, right? And it's no skin off of their nose for you to send them an email. And the emails that mean the most to me, or that I actually got an email from a 9-year-old boy. I think this was when I was casting Newsies, and he wrote it. His mom didn't write it. His mom didn't ask him to write it. His mom definitely did not correct it. But I loved it. I loved it because it showed me this kid spoke from the heart. He said what he felt, and he gave me his picture and resume. Like it was just, I don't know. It's this, we are in a business of humans, right? And so it's not like, we're not like IBM or Apple or whatever. Like it's not a conglomerate. It's not a corporation. This is about human to human. And so I think that that's something that we all forget about, which is another thing that this situation has reminded or should remind us of. So I think the more personal you can be, I think that the amount of time and effort, William, that you put into an email, I would hope, my prayer would be that that's what you're going to get in return.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Best of everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much, William. We're going to take this to LaCameron Buchanan. You're up.
Hi, everybody. If everybody can hear me, I don't know if you two can hear me or if anybody else can hear me. But again, like everyone's saying, thank you for your time. Thank you so much for doing this, especially for the beginner actors and the advanced actors doing these classes, because you know everyone needs to take classes and during this time, and I believe that. But Julia, I had a question for you. So I'm 17. I am just now getting, like, I've been doing like community theater and plays and everything like that. And I recently done a project with Red King Productions. I don't know if you've heard of them or anything. They're really small right now, but I done that. That was my first like TV thing I did. So I was like in that. So I was like really, and it really excited me because I only done theater before in the past. But now I got into TV and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really, really exciting. And like really, like it was all cameras behind me and everything. And I was like really excited. But here, I'm gonna get to the point anyway. So I'm about to go off to college and deciding which one I should do. Either I should do musical theater or going to TV or film, and whichever way I like, basically going to either LA or New York. Like, which one, in your opinion, do you think is the best one? I would say, because I want to go in the theater, but then I also want to go into TV or film, but I don't want to be stereotyped as, oh, you're from LA and you're coming to New York to be on Broadway, like, or you're coming from New York to be on TV or film, and it's like, ugh, like, why is that? So how do I kill that stereotype auditioning for other projects in those two very diverse but similar areas?
That's a good question. And you know, you're young. And I think that I giggled when you asked which one. I mean, obviously, I'm a theater girl. I mean, I've done television and film stuff, but my heart has been and always will be in theater. I mean, that's where my heart is. And okay, maybe it's just me, but I think the best actors across the board that you find are actors who started in theater. Because that is what does the Bible say? You build your house on rock and you got a foundation. You build your house in sand, and well, we know what happened with that little piggy, right? So I think that the more chops that you can build, the more diverse you can make yourself as an artist. I think you should, so I think you should think less about should I do TV or theater, and more about what I can do to strengthen my muscle as an artist, to become what is going to inspire you or bring you to be the best artist that you can be. And both of the genres are completely different, but talent is talent. I've seen tons of TV and film people on Broadway and in theater, and I'm just like, oh Lord. And then the opposite has been true, but not as much. I see a lot of my theater people on TV shows and commercials and stuff like that, and I'm always so proud because they just rock it every single time. So I don't know. I think you have to follow your heart. Always, always, always follow your heart.
Okay. I'm saying I'm taking notes as we're talking. So thank you so very much for this, and thank you so very much. And also, I have another question. I have one more. Is Mark Windsor like a legit person as a casting director?
Mark Windsor?
Yes.
You know what? I gotta say, our people, we don't know a lot of each other. Like, I know the agents and things like that, but I don't know. I want to say at one point he might have been an agent, but it doesn't mean anything. I mean, Google him.
Well, he came from Backstage because he followed me on Instagram, and then I DM'd him and I was like, hey, like, how did you find my account? And he's like, oh, from Backstage. And I was like, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I'll let you all go, and thank you all so very much for this, and hopefully be in contact with you in the future sometime.
Oh, you take care and enjoy the ride, honey.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cameron. We are going to take it to, sorry, I'm just looking at all you guys' gorgeous faces. Chanel Spar.
Oh my goodness. You unmuted me too. Bless you both. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I'm shook that I actually got picked. Thank you very much. Julia, thank you for your time. I'm sure we can't say it enough. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you, I'm a New York performer as well, and sometimes have dabbled in the stage management, sound, board, pretty much anything anybody let me get my hands on when theater is slow, just so I can stay in the loop of everything and learn all that I can. So I've made a couple of connections that I'm very grateful for. However, I'm not always doing something that I can send out like a blast about, like, hey, this month I'm in the show. Sometimes there's like 4 or 5 months where that's not happening. I wanted to ask, what is the best thing to, so I can still keep in contact and stay in the peripheral of the people that I want to stay in the peripheral of as an actress? What is the best thing that I can send them, and also how often? Because I don't want to be obnoxious, but I also don't want them to be like, who is spam? Chanel, who is even Chanel?
Right. No, that's a really good question. And it's so good that you have lots of different outlets, because I think that that's invaluable to you guys as artists, as creators, that we're in an industry where we can have a creative outlet that's not necessarily for you guys, it's acting, right? So I think that that's, and kudos to you for being able to have all bases covered. That's a really good question, because here's the thing, again, just my opinion, but I think it's best to reach out when you see there's a need. Like, I just don't think that, unfortunately, that we all have the time to read through. I think if you see somebody doing a project that you're interested in, definitely put your name out there and put yourself in front of them again, right? Whether that's an email or an email at this point, I think, or whatever other venues you guys can think of. But I think waiting until that time is much better than just always being, because eventually you just sort of get a deaf ear to it. It's like, oh my gosh, again,
yes.
You know, as opposed to it being like relevant. And also too, then you're going to be there at exactly the right time. Like when I get submissions before I'm even ready to accept them for a particular show, because on my website I'll put upcoming shows, and sometimes I'll get a submission like 3 months in advance. And even though I am Little Miss OCD preparedness, I can keep a file, but it's so much more helpful to me to see the submission when I'm actually actively casting it.
Sure.
Does that make sense? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Chanel. So because we started a little late, we're gonna push this till about like 3:20. Julie, does that work?
Oh, honey, that's fine.
Great.
I just have groceries.
Just gotta disinfect those groceries. Yeah, my neighbor thought I was crazy when she saw me doing that, and I was like,
oh no,
it can live on surfaces. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah. They're videos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great. So next up is Luna.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay. So, I'm 15 and I've been doing like classes. I've took like 2 or 3 on-camera classes, and I was wondering if there's any kind of classes that you think is really necessary for teens that are wanting to like get an agent and get into the business before they're like grown up, because it's harder then.
It's not harder as a grown up. I just think, okay, let me backtrack. So you're 15. So you just won the prize as being the youngest so far, right? And I think right now, honey, because I've got kids and I see a lot of kids, don't rush. Don't rush. I say, finding an agent is not the end all be all. I think that for a lot of you, you think that if I find an agent, this is going to happen, X, Y, and Z. It sort of gives you a false sense of security in regards to my job or my career is going to really jump off once I find an agent, which isn't true. I know plenty of actors with agents who don't work. And I also know the opposite. I also know a lot of actors who work all the time. And I think of one actor in particular. This man is always, he goes from show to show to show to show. As a matter of fact, I had him in 3 shows of mine. 2 of them overlap, right? And he doesn't have an agent, has never had an agent. So that's number 1. Number 2, I say this as a grown-up, and I know this is going to sort of fall on deaf ears, but you've got so much life to live right now that I would say, just do whatever makes you happy in regards to like classes. If you find a teacher that you really like in a class that really you find challenges you and helps you strengthen that acting muscle, that creative muscle, then that's exactly where you should be. But I think you're asking me 2 different things, classes and agents. And again, like I'm a firm believer in things will happen when they're supposed to happen. And I don't think it's easier as a child or a minor to find an agent than it is an adult.
Okay.
Thanks, Luna.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I just love to see actors of all ages.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple of younger, sort of 15, 14 areas. So, we're so happy that you're here, Luna. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't, bless your heart, because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 15. Could barely pick out what I wanted to wear when I was 15, let alone what I wanted to do with my life.
Thank you. We're gonna go to Mesa Javi. You're up. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So hi, Julia. Thanks for being here, obviously. I had to. So I'm based in New York, and my question is like this. My biggest difficulty is to actually get in the door. I don't really understand how to stand out. I know you get like million submissions, and my question is, what are your biggest tips on how to stand out? Like things that you saw during your career that were like, okay, this guy is memorable, I want him in. Something that really like got your attention.
Now, May, are we talking about the actual audition, or are we talking about my impression of an artist?
More like the point when you submit your reel and like before you actually get in the room.
Still not understanding specifically.
So they say like, we're looking for people that look like this, and they ask you send your reel in.
Okay.
Send something about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, for me personally, like I don't, sometimes I'll ask somebody for a reel, but it's very infrequently. Usually it's just more helpful to me when I see somebody auditioning with the material that I'm auditioning with. It's just a no-brainer for me in that respect. But I think, so I can either respond to that or just my response to actors' reels in general. So what would be most helpful to you?
Whatever you think that most casting directors work by, I'll go with you.
Can't really answer what most casting directors do, but I can just say what I do, and that's I ask for audition material from the shows that I'm actively casting, because I'm a big proponent is I will never ask you guys to do what will waste your time. I don't believe in asking anyone to jump through hoops when it's not productive. It's actually a really good question, maybe, because I think one of the things my assistants and I are always saying that sometimes I will say, especially, and I don't want to group people, but I think sometimes my actors spend more time deciding what they're going to wear than actually preparing for the actual audition. And I also think that sometimes you overthink things. Like, you keep thinking about what I want to see versus your connection with that character, right? So I think finding that connection, doing the homework with the material that you're given. Do you understand who you are, how you feel? Have you read the sides, like, a few different ways just to find out what your heart feels is most accurate? Like, I think that there's a difference, and you guys might notice I use the word artist a lot as opposed to actor. I think that there's a fundamental difference in those two people for me. Like, they're actors and they're artists. I work with artists, and I encourage you guys to find your inner artist, find out who that person is. And I think you can only do that by doing your homework and your exploration. Plus, that's the funnest part, you guys, is that character development and doing all that stuff. Don't get so caught up in doing what you think we want to see. Just do what you connect with the most. Because if you don't believe what you're doing, I certainly am not going to. One of the things my actors will hear me say a lot is, don't talk at me, talk to me. Don't sing at me, sing to me. Right? Do you guys understand that there's a difference? So it's about making a connection. It's about making these people real. And you can't do that just by reading lines off of a page. So I would say spend way more time in that respect, and don't worry about the other stuff quite so much.
Thanks for that question, May.
Thank you.
We're gonna have time for one more. I'm so sorry, guys. We will have more Slate programming, so please stay tuned and get all your questions answered by a casting director. So I'm gonna go to Leon Farmer for this one. Leon, you're up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Can you hear me?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I guess my question, a lot of these questions from the actors have been great, and I guess mine is actually more of an invite to you. So I'm a part of an organization out here in California called Veterans in Media and Entertainment, and I was wanting to know if I can bring your information to them, if maybe I can get you to hold one of these webinars for our veteran film and entertainment cast and crew.
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
I think, like I said at the top of this, I am always open to helping my community out as much as I possibly can. And now more than ever, reach out, you guys, my email is also on my website. So feel free to do that. And if we can make it work, we definitely will.
Can you just, I jumped on here a little late. Can you just confirm your website with me and everybody else? That way I have the right person that I'm researching.
Right. So my name's Julia Flores, and the website is it's easy. It's florescasting.com.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And I'll send you an email as well. And if there's anything that I can do, you're locally in LA, correct?
I am.
Okay, so I'll send you an email as well, and if there's anything that I can do to help you out, please reach out.
Oh, thanks, Leon. It's
Absolutely.
we are as strong as we're stronger together than we are individually. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Backstage.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, guys. We actually, since we said we were going to 3:20, we have time for one more question. So we'll do one last one, and then we're cutting off. Julia has been very generous with her time, and we really appreciate it. So I'm going to go with Angela Valenti Romeo. Let me see if I can unmute you. There you go.
I have a question. I've been in and out of this business for 44 years now. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do and never had the opportunity to do was theater. How difficult is it for someone whose background is film and TV and print to get into a theater without a BA in theater or a BFA in theater? Is that a hindrance? Does that hold people back? Just curious. I mean, it's just something I've always wanted to try to do.
I mean, and I get why you would want to do it, because it's pretty gosh darn amazing. But I, like I said earlier, I just, talent is talent, and that goes across the board. It's not just, oh, she's talented with this, but she's not talented there. I mean, it's relative, right? So yeah, I mean, I just think taking advantage and getting yourself out there as much as you possibly can. I'm not sure, I'm sorry if you mentioned this, but where are you based? I'm
in Palm Springs, actually. I'm not too far. I go to LA a lot.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I found is, because I do a lot of television and film, and I'm lucky in a weird way, is I'll get a director who'll say to me, this is a scene, run with it. So I gotta hope that everybody else around me can work on the improv. Theater is not like that. I mean, you're stuck, because I'm also a lawyer. So theater, you're stuck with that, the way it's written, you have to bring yourself to it. And that's what I think would be a challenge. And I've always wanted to try it. But like I said, I've the few times I've gone out, it's always sort of been, well, gee, we're looking for somebody with the theater background.
Right. You know what I would say, Angela, is I would say a really concrete piece of advice is start reading a lot of plays. You've got some time on your hand, read some plays, classic plays, contemporary plays. And I was just saying to one of my artistic directors, I got to imagine a lot of really good plays are going to come out of this whole situation. But I would say start working, find a play, find a character that you really resonate with right now, and start working on a monologue, a 2-minute monologue, and get that ready. And something that I really, really encourage you guys, if anyone who's interested in theater, go to the EPAs when they are available. It's huge. I mean, I don't, in LA, I don't see nearly as many people as I used to back in the day. I mean, back in the day, I would drive up to the theater and there'd be a line down the street and around the block. And now it's like, not so much. So I think that's because, we see anyone and everyone that shows up.
I've been working on the monologue like you suggested, and it's funny, I chose 12 Angry Men because I think there's a lot of meat in that play. But it's a little different world, and thank you very much for your time too, and stay well and stay healthy. It's a strange world out here now.
Yeah, it is, but it's still, I'm a firm believer, it's still a pretty amazing place to be. So there's a lot of really good things coming out of this as well. It's just scary, but there's a lot of love and a lot of kindness out there too.
Yes, there is. Thank you,
Angela.
My pleasure.
And thank you guys all so much. Thank you, Julia, for being here. That was such great advice. Yeah, I see everyone kind of doing their claps in the screens and snaps. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you to Julia again for giving us your time. And apologies again for the late start. We're all navigating this new Zoom world together. So thank you for your patience. And if you've liked what you've seen on the slate so far, if this is your first time with us, please tell your friends, tell your actor friends, anyone who's interested in performing arts, or just like hearing from amazing people like Julia, like please share on social media. send the links to everyone. I think we're done for the day for today, but tomorrow we've got some UK-based people, so they're a little early for West Coast people, 6 a.m. for East Coast and 3 a.m. for West Coast. But we will be recording some of those and hopefully releasing after the fact. At 11 a.m. tomorrow, we have our daily Zoom fitness workout, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. West Coast time. We also have a makeup artist who's coming on at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on our YouTube Live, who's going to be talking about how to brush up on your makeup skills. She's going to give a 30-minute tutorial on how to achieve various looks for on-camera and headshots. And then we have Kristen Calabria right here on Zoom at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. West Coast time. She's a yoga teacher and an actor. And if you were looking for a way to kind of center yourself and get some physical workouts in as well, she's a great option. We will be having more casting directors as well, speaking and hopefully getting more of your questions answered. And I think that's about it. Again, thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you for your patience. My name is Brianna Rodriguez again. I'm the editor-in-chief of Backstage. I realized I didn't introduce myself at all when I first started because I was so worried about getting us started. But thank you guys again. And come back and tell your friends. Thank you, Julia. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you all. You guys all stay out of mischief.
Yeah, stay out of mischief, wash your hands, and Clorox your groceries. Thanks, guys. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.